Well, first of all, I think you need to look at the entire statement the President made when discussing the situation at J.P. Morgan, and I think that your characterization of it is actually not quite accurate. What the President said,
smartest banker,
what the President said of him as an individual. What the President said is that even a well-run bank, led by someone who is viewed as a wise head of a company and a head of a bank, can make a seriously bad decision. A seriously bad decision that can bring about significant losses in the, at least based on what we know now, $2 billion range, maybe more. You're right that I'm not, there is an SEC investigation. I'm not going to get into the details of the transactions here. But what the President was saying, the point he was making, is that this is a perfect example of why we need to make sure we have Wall Street reform, why we need to have those rules in place. Because what we know is that while the bank will be held accountable for whatever losses result from a bad decision like this, the taxpayers won't be. And that is essential, because we cannot have happen what happened in 2007 and 2008, where you had financial institutions that were too big to fail, that in the economic situation that we found ourselves in then required taxpayer assistance in order to keep the economy from going off a cliff. And the reason why the President fought so hard for Wall Street reform, the reason why he insisted that Wall Street reform include the Consumer Protection Bureau, include the so-called Volcker Rule, and he fought hard against the resistance of Republicans, against the mighty efforts of very well-paid lobbyists representing Wall Street firms, is because he believes the American taxpayer should not be left holding the bag. That's the point he was making, is that it is a perfect example of the fact that, even when a bank like this one can make a bad decision, what if one that is not as well run or as well managed or has the track record that this one does makes a mistake? We need to have a system in place and rules in place that banks that make catastrophically bad decisions can be wound down without the taxpayer being harmed, and that banks that make seriously bad decisions that result in big losses can handle them themselves and do not require any federal intervention. That's the essence of why we need Wall Street reform, and that is why, in the wake of what we've just seen on Wall Street, it is even more alarming and astounding that there are those who remain on Capitol Hill and elsewhere, including those who would be president, who say we should repeal Wall Street reform. We should go back to a system where Wall Street writes its own rules, and where, when disastrously bad decisions are made, the taxpayer is left to pick up the pieces. The President's not going to go there.